This is the first of a set of seasonal, we'll call them Flax circles, informal roundtables that we hope to be able to organise to learn from each other and generate that wonderful community aspect that Angela and Shannon were talking about in terms of learning together in this fibre network. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on, but this second hour is about the wider culture that Flax and then offers both to individuals, communities, to place. And I'd like to start by introducing someone who I've not met in person, but who I hope very much to meet in the next couple of years. COVID has stopped us, a lot of us getting together, a lot of us traveling. I'd hoped to have Christiane Seufferlein with us here in Scotland for our festival. We certainly have her Flax in the festival, her, excuse me, her wonderful Bertas Flax project. It's one of a number of international textile community projects. This one touched my heart, a very real reference to a local culture that's become global, thanks to the generosity of Christiane. So I'd like to hand over to Austria. Come in, Austria.
Hello. Thank you, John, for inviting me. And I'm really thrilled to be here and to tell you a little bit about my project, Bertas Flax. So I come in a little bit before the projects you all have built up. So I come in to make people interested in flax. And this project really kind of happened to me. I did not plan for it. I'm a teacher of spinning and natural dyeing, and I live in a very rural and in a very remote part of Austria called Mühlviertel. And in my region, flax growing was a very big industry till the 50s. And a lot of people were involved in flax production, and our region was very famous for flax. And because it was such a valuable fiber, it was common that brides, or sometimes even grooms, got a big box and a big chest of flax and linen for their wedding as a dowry. And those flax chests are still around. I will show you pictures of those flax chests when I'm finished talking. And what I can show you is the flax itself. It looks like this in these boxes. And the boxes have been a life insurance for women in this area. So whenever something would happen to your family, or you had a failed crop or whatever, you could sell the very valuable flax stricks or linen. And so it would never have been used for fun. So people treasured those chests a lot. And that's the reason why so many are still around. So the tradition of giving flax boxes or chests for weddings finished in the 60s, but came a long, long way. And at the moment, I see flax chests from the 1890s, 1850s even. And how did this all come to me? A person, a man whose mother died, found one of those boxes in the basement and wanted to have it a good home, which is not often the case because those chests have been buried or burned for years now because people don't know what to do with those flax stricks. And this man wanted to have a good home for its flax chest, and he brought me a huge chest in spring this year. And I was happy to have it, but I would never been able to spin it all. It's close to 100 kilos of flax in one of those chests. And so I started to give it out and give it away to other spinners and weavers internationally via Facebook. And within a week or something, the box was empty. So it was a huge request. Many people wanted to have one strick, and I gave them out. And I told this story to a friend of mine who is a journalist, and she wrote a little article about it in our local newspaper. And from then on, it went crazy because a lot of old people kept calling me, oh, I have flax as well. Oh, I have linen as well. Please collect it. Please get it. I want to have it a good home as well. So I started to travel around and not only collect flax, but hear the stories behind the flax. And this was such a wholesome experience for me and for those people, because they were able to tell their stories, and they were able to tell what flax meant to them, what linen meant to them. And I took those stories and brought it back to Facebook, to this group we now had created, Bertas Flax. And I started to tell about all the old men and women who were working with flax and show their flax and gave out their flax. And so I didn't do anything to start this, but it did itself. And the story spread, and the people were more and more interested, not only in the flax and in the linen, but in the stories behind it. And so without really doing it, a network formed where people were interested not only in spinning and the technique or the growing, but also in the stories and the history, not only about my people, but also, oh, let's think about who grow flax in my region. So it really started this process of thinking about flax and opened a new dimension of dealing with the fiber. So people started to think about flax who had never spun before, or who had never spun flax before. Or I have even some people in the group who don't spin or weave, but use it in different projects. So flax at the moment in Bertas Flax is, this group is just this vehicle to transport a lot of different things about this fiber. And all this happened because of this one box. And at the moment I have about close to 2,000 members in Bertas Flax group. And we have sent out almost 500 parcels in the whole world, which translates to almost a ton of vintage flax. And all my flax is about between 80 and 120 years old, but it still is as good as new. So you can still spin it. And what happens now is we have created not only a web of people, but a connection from the past to the present. And now a lot of members of the Bertas Flax group start to do heirloom projects for the future, so for their children or their grandchildren. So what is so amazing for me is that this flax just talked to so many different generations, and we can still use it. Yeah, that's the main idea behind Bertas Flax. And I now want to show you some of the pictures of this flax. Can you see that?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. So, oh, now I have it. It should work now.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is Berta, the original Berta. I think it was in her 50s, and here you can see her wedding pictures. She married in the late 40s. And it was a tradition to show off the dowry. So when the woman, when the marriage was on the day of the wedding, the box was brought from the woman's house to the new home and was shown off in the village and was serenaded by music. So this is also from Berta's original Bertas Flax chests. This is the chest in all its glory. So this is how I got it. And you can see the different colors in flax, which means that it's not from 1 year, because those chests have been collected over the years. So maybe in this chest, there's flax from the last 50 years of a family's life. And also linen, I find a lot of linen. It's all hand spun, hand woven. It's also in those chests sometimes. And a lot of the chests are really nicely decorated. This is from 1920, this chest. And this is how they are stacked. So very neatly, very shiny. This flax is 80 years old. And again, the decoration over this time with paper flowers, and it's Rosa's flax. Very nice lady who gifted her chest of flax to me and to the project. Another way of decorating and stacking. So I think it's very beautiful how they are arranged. Sometimes I also get textiles, ready-made textiles. The blue and white checked one is a pillowcase, and on the other side you see not only flax towels or linen towels, but flax thread, which was also almost always in those boxes. And sometimes I even get other textiles and nightgowns and ready-made textiles in those boxes. And if I don't take it or if I don't save it, a lot of it would have gone to the skip. Yeah, so that's a little bit about Berta's flax. At the moment, we are working on making it an official community, an official guild or something, because I really want to continue this work and to continue to buy flax, to listen to the stories, to collect the stories, maybe making a book or some place to keep it for future generations. And I really want to inspire young people via those stories to look at flax and to look at linen and to maybe find a different way into this beautiful fiber they haven't found before. Thank you.
Christiane, thank you so much for that presentation. Very heartwarming, and as I was suggesting, something intensely personal that's become a beautiful part of a much bigger community. Did you say 2,000 folk? I mean, yeah, a ton of stricks. Fabulous. I mean, just a beautiful project. And there is one, Angela is waving. I don't have mine with me, but I know Paul is there. I know Paul. There we go. So a number of us have had the joy of receiving your flax, and you know what a wonderful project. I think there's something there about the valuing of the process of textile. I think that's something that came up and was mentioned by Sirpa and by Jane and all of us really. It is this notion that perhaps we buy less but with greater quality, and that we think hard about the entire process, the value of a piece of textile in its totality in this urgent need of climate change revision and understanding that process. I think what your project's also doing is allowing us to value this intense nature of textiles. We come to it in different ways, but revalue it with these local stories made international are very important. I had hoped to have someone, and there may be someone in the room who would like to unmute and talk to us, but I hope to get someone to respond, but they weren't available, around the Swedish project 1 kVm lean. They now have, from a beautiful project, growing 1 meter squared of flax, they now have 2,500 folk in Sweden and beyond Sweden in other Nordic countries growing flax. That's also a project about revaluing the nature of textile. Is anyone in the room who would like to talk a little bit about 1 kVm lean? Anyone from Sweden with us? No. Well, a wonderful project. Again, Christiane, congratulations on using social media in such a beautiful way. It's a really wonderful example, and you very generously allow folks into Berta's Flax group, and it's been a joy to witness what other people have done with their stricks, be them displaying them or spinning them, and some have gone on to make linen pieces. Congratulations on the wonderful project. Very nicely into a recipient of flax, and I do want to share a screen if I may. Just by way of introduction, this is on Helen's farm, and there's Fiona waving at us, Fiona McKelvey, who's in the audience today. Lovely to see you, Fiona. And that's a little bit about the community aspect of of this. I'm hoping I can get this to move on. That is 2018, Shannon and Angela, and that was in Lisburn when we took our Linen Stories exhibition into the cathedral there and talked a little bit about the Huguenot migration. And next picture, if we can, that's Rosie and her machine. And there's some of Berta's flax in the current exhibition in Kirkcaldy, as part of you can see the bottle of retting flax there.